Welcome to episode 17 of the Owl Podcast. Today on the Stanley Parable, I am yet again joined with Sky Slayer.
How's it going?
Today is on a game I definitely enjoy a lot. Probably one of my top 10 games, even 5 games. The Stanley Parable, maybe even top 3. Like the Stanley Parable is just one of those games that are really important to me. Which
Mm,
once me and Sky Slayer did the map pack um for Stanley Parable, the original mod in but it was in G mod, and
yeah.
yeah, that was definitely fun. But I'm talking about the Stanley Parable because it's one of my favorite games, and yeah, so obviously the basic concept of the game is you have choices and you choose choices, and the narrator will react based on your choices, and it allows for a lot of creative comedy and endings. And the Ultra Deluxe released in 2022, which I had been waiting for since December of 2018. So I had been waiting quite a while for it, about 4 years, a little under 4 years, but 4 years. And yeah, I had been waiting for the Ultra Deluxe. But yeah, I like the narrator. He's very good and funny. And some of my favorite endings are the confusion ending and the games ending, especially the original games ending from the 2013 version, which had Portal and Minecraft. The update with the bucket was with the Ultra Deluxe. I didn't necessarily agree with that at first because just for me, who was such a fan of the original, it felt like with all the bucket endings, it was the same endings, but they put a twist on it. Some were better, some were worse at doing it. How much do you know
Mm.
of the Ultra Deluxe Sky Slayer?
Just what I've seen on YouTube, really.
Yeah.
Like how they added the jumping function.
Oh yeah, the jump circle. I like
Yeah, and
one of the things you can do with the jump circle is if you reload the game by the reload button, it actually allows for you to jump outside of the jump circle, and it's a pretty good bug, and it also unlocks a Easter egg that's like a Elden Ring, like Dark Souls Easter egg with employee 432 being like praise employee 432 or something like that. And yeah, uh, I think it's a neat Easter egg, even though
yeah.
I've never played Elden Ring or Dark Souls or any Souls like games, really. I mean,
Uh,
there was kind of one being Ruby Grim Eclipse. The final boss battle of that was very like challenging for me and took like 20 attempts, so that was the closest I've gotten to like a Dark Souls sort of thing. Have you played any like Souls like games, Sky Slayer?
I've played Dark Souls Remastered. I got past the first boss battle with a scheming technique, which is when you start with the character, you get the explosive black bombs for your starting equipment,
Yeah.
and you just blow up the first boss. And that's as far as I've gotten on the remastered version of Dark Souls. And I've also played a couple hours of Bloodborne, which is like a Dark Souls like game.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never played it. And I worry about playing Dark Souls sort of like games, but eventually I'll probably do one. Probably
Yeah.
one that I'll potentially do in the future is like GI Survivor. It's like kind of Souls like with its fighting,
Yeah.
especially on like the harder difficulties. It's
I've
like,
played that a couple of times too. I owned it and played it as well.
yeah, I need to buy that at some point because the new one came out recently.
And it is the continuation of it.
Yeah, so definitely need to get around to that at some point. Other Easter eggs in the Stanley Parable is they have Dallas's mask from Payday. So I find that funny and interesting. It's during the confusion ending, which, if
Uh,
you recognize like the mask, that probably just add on to the confusion of the confusion ending. Like the confusion ending's already supposed to confuse you, but if you recognize that and like, why is this here? Like, it's an Easter egg. People do Easter eggs. But it's definitely the
yeah.
perfect place to put something like that in because it will definitely just add on to the confusion, especially since, like, Payday is kind of like totally different. I mean, it's not too different, but it's like crime, kill, get money, where Stanley Parable is comedy walking sim
Yeah.
with choices. And even though the choices technically don't matter since it always resets, it feels like you're discovering things every path you walk down. So, like, yeah, I think it does feel like your choices do man away, even if you always get reset, like if it's Groundhog Day or something, it feels like those choices mean something, and you probably will always remember your first ending. I don't actually remember at this point because I've played so much of Stanley Parable and seen so many of the Easter eggs and looked at like the sort of lore things in the game, the odd lore of like Employee 432 and stuff, and like I still discover things to this day like, oh, I never noticed this piece of paper before and what it says. So yeah, I'm still discovering things even when I've played as much as I have. So yeah,
Uh, I've been meaning to get the game, but just played it on the map where it was fun enough. except we went completely different directions, and the narrator was trying to keep both stories going at once.
Yeah, the map isn't exactly intended for two people, so keep that in mind if you play the Stanley Parabolic add-on for like Gmod that's not intended for multiple people. So if you do have like two or more people playing it, it's not gonna have a great time. It's
Yeah, but it was still funny.
it's going to have a bad time, you could say, because I've been
Yeah.
playing Undertale, so I'm making that reference because by the point this video, actually, it's in the future, I think, but one of the future videos to come is like Michael in Undertale. Um, uh, and since I'm sort of going down the genocide route, it means I'm probably going to have to do the Sans boss fights, and that's going
Oh,
to
that's gonna
be,
be a hard fight.
yeah, that's not going to be fun. It's going to be a bad time indeed for me. Also, the Undyne fight is also going to be a challenge, but that one's going to be easier than Sans. Like, if Jackaboy can beat it, Jacksepticeye, I think I could beat it. Just it's going to be hard.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. Um, some of the new endings that I found particularly enjoyable, some of the things I actually liked about the Ultra Deluxe, other than my mixed feelings on the bucket. Some of the bucket endings are really good, like the love ending, as I call it, where the narrator seems to fall in love with the bucket. Uh, that is definitely an absurd ending, but I absolutely love it.
That does sound pretty absurd.
Yep.
I'll
Because
fall
it
in love with a
seems like the
bucket.
bucket has some sort of property to it where the longer you're exposed to it, the more you like it. So slowly, the narrator, at first, the narrator is completely distant and cold to the bucket. Like, he feels like the bucket stole Stanley away from him. And then eventually, progressively through the iterations, the narrator starts to warm up to the bucket like, actually, this is a nice bucket. I like this bucket. This is a cool bucket. Eventually, you end up in an apartment, and it's like, has like candles lit, like it's all candlelit, like mood lighting, like something's going to be done in the bedroom, like the deed may be done in the bedroom. And that's when the narrator seems obsessed over the bucket and completely goes crazy over the bucket, like, Stanley, give me the bucket.
Oh God.
So, yeah, it is absurd, but I do enjoy that ending quite a lot because it's actually creative. Unlike some of the endings with the bucket are like the freedom ending, but instead of being free, you're not free. It's just parallel. It's not even original. Like some of the bucket endings were improved and some just felt like they missed the mark. Like that there's like a bucket game show which I quite enjoyed that ending. So it's
And the
like,
infinite hole.
yeah, there's the infinite hole. That's a part of the Stanley Parable 2 demonstration area ending, as I like to call it. It's not really an ending, but I'll just call it an ending because everything could be considered an ending, like the broom closet ending. While the broom closet ending was my favorite. The broom closet
The
is
broom.
closet ending's definitely one of my favorites. Like top like five. Like there's my top endings are the original like the confusion ending. That's probably number one. Probably followed by the original games ending. Um, with Minecraft and Portal, that's probably number two. Then followed by I really like the press conference ending where like Stanley gets famous and talks to a bunch of people and may or may not like collapse due to like anxiety or like pressure at the end. It's not really explicitly stated, but it, like everything like fades, like all the lights get extremely bright and everything just goes white at the end of that ending. But the please hold sections of that ending are particularly enjoyable. Then it'd probably be the broom closet ending. And then I don't know what would be my fifth, but there's definitely a lot of good endings. Yeah, broom closet ending is special. Hopefully you get to experience it one day, Sky Slayer.
Yeah.
And you'll finally see why I like the game so much. Some other good endings are like the fourth wall breaking one where the narrator realizes you're not just Stanley, you're an actual person.
Person.
Yeah, that one's quite enjoyable. It's also one of the only ones that has the credits within it. So to some it could be seen as the official ending because finally you're no longer Stanley. You're out of the shell as the female narrator says, like Stanley was basically dead from the minute he hit start because like all paths were determined for him long in advance. And that ending also happens to have the credits, but it's just the credits are like on a wall instead of being like actual proper scrolling through the credits. But still, and that's in the museum ending, which is also one of my favorite endings. It has like elements from the game, like it's a museum of all the assets in the game, even like
Uh,
cut assets that never made it into the Stanley Parable. So it's actually quite fascinating to see what endings they did consider at times in the development. The only thing I wish they had done for the museum ending is add on to it because they could have shown other potential like cut endings for the Ultra Deluxe, like what other ideas they may have considered for the Ultra Deluxe. So that's my only thing with the museum ending, is that they didn't update that, which they did do in a few cases, like the meta ending that I mentioned before, where narrator realizes you're a person, because during that ending he shows you a slideshow like sort of thing to be like, here's how to be a good person. And the original, like the very original version, was very uh not necessarily graphic, but it was like either give cigarettes to orphans, like African like children, like orphans, like or burn down them with gasoline, and they actually had a graphic of like the children like on fire, so it was like absolutely like, what the hell. It was cartoony, like in the cartoony style, so there wasn't actually any burns, but it was still like, oh my god. The more censored version has of that original thing has instead it's like a house burning, and instead of giving them cigarettes, it's like giving them like a flower and like actually helping them. But the the new version is like completely like different. It's got like a food machine thing, like either give food to like the poor people, poor children, or I forget what the other option is in the, but like the new version, because I remember the old version much more because it was a lot more graphic and real. But yeah, so they censored it a bit more to make it more, I guess, friendly in the newer versions.
Uh,
So yeah, it's
Pardon me.
gone more friendly through the iterations of the Stanley Parable. But yeah, um, what's some other things I can mention? Well, I haven't really gone and talked about the Infinite Hole. That one's fun with its music.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's pretty simple. Infinite hole just keeps falling.
yeah, well, four's mostly Infinite Hole. Falls for a bit and then eventually hits the bottom. And it slowly
Yeah,
gets less and less infinite until the dream sequence. But if you don't press the button, the lift keeps going down and down and down, technically. There's like a teleport point where it resets, but it's essentially infinite in if you don't press the button prompt. So
yeah,
the infinite hole can be infinite, but only in that rare circumstance.
yeah,
And as long as you don't press the button prompt, the start, the fever dreams section, as I like to call it. Which have you seen all the weird stuff that goes on in the Infinite Hall?
I've seen some of it. When I think, who did I watch play it? Was it Markiplier? No, maybe it was Jacksepticeye. No, it was Jacksepticeye I watched play it.
Yeah, but that was definitely one of my highlights from the Ultra Deluxe. And when I broke it with since I have a mod which allows me the no clip, I was able to break it, which would allow me to like after teleport command, it will allow me to basically have super speed and like also jump where you're not allowed to
Yeah.
jump normally. So I had super speed and like was jumping around like I was a speed runner.
Or the
Like
Flash. Uh,
the flash. My name's Barry Allen, and whatever else the intro is for the
my name is
show.
Barry. I'm the fastest man alive. I'm the fastest man alive. The fast behind her, that's part of the intro. This. I'm quite into my DC live action shows as well as Marvel.
Yeah, I haven't really ever watched the like DC or Marvel. Like I've seen bits and pieces of like both, but I've never really gotten into it because I guess I just like sci-fi, like more sci-fi
Yes,
guy.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure hero movies are more like action packed than sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean there's sometimes sci-fi elements, but it's not like heavy sci-fi for the most
Like I know Iron
part.
Man. Iron Man would be somewhat sci-fi because he has his power armor and he makes
Yeah,
the
but
suit
it's
of
still
iron.
mostly action for
Yeah.
Iron Man. Like the only thing I like from Iron Man that I actually watched and enjoyed is Iron Man Armored Adventures. Have you seen
Oh
that?
yes, the animated series.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Also, Spider-Man,
And the Spider
Spectacular,
Verse. That's spectacular.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spectacular, spectacular Spider-Man. That's the theme song. Have you seen that one?
I think I might have seen it once. Depending on how old it is too.
Yeah, yeah. But Spectacular Spider-Man, I also watched and enjoyed. Unfortunately, that one never saw like I guess a proper conclusion because it seemed like that there was an illusion that there was going to be more, but it never got past like 2 seasons. So it's kind of a shame that it didn't get a proper conclusion. I mean, the conclusion of season 2 wrapped up some things, but I also had like something right at the end that alluded to like, oh, there's going to be more of this for season 3, and then there's never season 3, and it never
Mm.
comes back, which is just sad when things don't come back, or you have to wait for them forever.
Oh, there's one old show that didn't get many seasons. You heard of this TV show called Recess?
No, I have not.
It's pretty much just a show. It's pretty much a show about school kids in school.
I see.
It was called Recess.
I see.
But if I find a picture of it, I'll send it to you.
All right. Back to Stanley. What else can
Yeah.
I talk about? Oh yeah, the skip button ending slash the whole like memory zone ending. Uh, that ending was also like a, a, a pretty good ending, I think, because it like demonstrates like 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 that there's always good and bad to a game, and maybe it didn't need this content, but the new content's there for those who are coming into it like fresh, and also the old like fans as well, to give them something new if they have experienced everything. But the the new endings are kind of hit and miss for me.
Uh,
But yeah, the Steam reviews were particularly a funny part. Oh no, not the Steam reviews, says the narrator. In
mm,
like, oh god, it's the Steam reviews. I got to get out of here.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think that'll do it for Stanley Parables. So I'll wrap up this episode here. So thank you for joining me, Sky Slayer.
You're welcome. Live long and prosper, everyone.
Yes, thank you all for watching. Until next time, peace.